La Machine is set to invade the downtown core this weekend, and with it will come multiple road closures. Find out where you can see the robotic creatures. Continuum has opened in the Lion Street LRT Tunnel, and already thousands have came out to see the world first. And we are also in New York City, where the site of the World Trade Center is starting to turn around into something new. Thank you for joining us this week. Ottawa 2017 events are well underway, and you now have a chance to go inside the future Lion Station of the LRT Tunnel for Continuum, a world first. A world first has just made its way to Ottawa. Continuum, a virtual sound and light show, is unveiled inside the Lion Station of the LRT Tunnel, and members of the media as well as a few lucky ticket goers were able to get a first glimpse before the event officially opens on Sunday. Members of City Council as well as Guy Laflamme, Executive Director of Ottawa 2017, was on hand for the opening. As the ribbon was cut, a journey was embarked underground into the tunnel. When you first enter into the station, you are able to create a hologram of yourself that will be projected in part of the sound and light show. As you continue down into the tunnel, you have to make a big decision. Do you go left or right? Both will take you to the same place, but in different directions. As you walk through, the sounds of rattlesnakes are heard through the plants of the jungle, and lights are shining everywhere. As you enter the tunnel itself, the train roars through the tunnel for about 5 minutes, and holograms of yourself are projected onto it. In total, visitors are able to walk through about 500 meters of the tunnel, and all of the music that's used during the show was composed by a local Ottawa artist. Now, one of the most neat things about this is how people's faces can get projected on the screens behind me, almost as if they're riding the train. Getting the LRT tunnel ready for Continuum wasn't easy and had to be delayed for about 2 weeks. The initial goal was to open it in mid to late June. Guy Laflamme, Executive Director of Ottawa 2017, said there were many hassles with the project and can understand why Ottawa was the first city in the world to embark on such a big project.
We have had many challenging issues to resolve over the last 2.5 years. So basically, creating in what will be a future public transit space, transforming it into a theater. So that was a pretty challenging exercise. So now I understand why we are the world first, because nobody else in the world is crazy enough to embark on this kind of mission impossible.
Workers were still painting the inside of the tunnel just hours before opening, and still not all of the work is complete. Laflamme, who was up for 48 hours trying to get the project ready in time, said that it's like he gave birth today.
Well, I gave birth today. I have actually about 200 babies to deliver over the course of the year, but this was the biggest one and the most challenging one.
Now, Continuum does run until September 14th. If you want to come and see it for yourself, you can. However, you need to get a pair of tickets from Ottawa2017.ca. Charlie Senack, TWIN News, Ottawa. Now, Continuum does run until September 14th. It is a free event, however you do need tickets to get inside. You can get them for free on Ottawa2017.ca. Well, the last major event for Canada's 150th birthday will be invading the streets of Ottawa this weekend, and it's the first time it has made its way to North America. La Machine will be taking over Ottawa streets from Thursday until Sunday, with Long Ma the dragon and Kumo the spider roaming city streets. This is the first time this event will be taking place in North America. Kuma will awaken near the National Art Gallery on Thursday, and both robotic creatures will be able to be seen throughout the capital from Friday to Sunday. I spoke to Guy Laflamme, Executive Director of Ottawa 2017, a few weeks back on what La Machine will mean for the city. Here's what he had to say.
This is a first, not only in Canada, but in North America. First time that La Machine is coming on this side of the Atlantic, and that's going to be a massive, massive production.
And if you wish to go see the creatures that will be invading the downtown core for yourself, the full schedule is on Ottawa2017.com. And if you're thinking of doing some fun summer activities with the family this summer, there are multiple things that you can do. To continue our museum series, we now give you a look into the Grand Hall at the Canadian Museum of History and some of its Aboriginal displays. The Canadian Museum of History is known for its Aboriginal displays and was designed by Douglas Cardinal, an Aboriginal architect. As you walk into the museum, you can't help but notice the Grand Hall that offers an introduction into the history, cultures, and beliefs of the first people of Canada's Pacific Coast. The hall offers a curving 6-story window wall with a spectacular view of Parliament Hill. Now, what makes this exhibit so magnificent is these iconic totem poles and 6 native houses connected by a Pacific Coast shoreline and a boardwalk. The native town features a boardwalk with 6 native houses and totem poles resembling a typical native village in British Columbia. As you walk behind the houses, 2 exhibitions are on display. In First Peoples of the Northwest Coast, you can walk into Aboriginal culture and how the Aboriginals keep to their culture while also living in the 21st century. The people who live here live on islands along the water and rely on fishing for survival, such as with salmon, seals, and whales. And when European explorers arrived in the 1770s, there were at least 15 languages spoken on the coast, belonging to 5 distinct language families. And in other parts of the exhibit, artifacts that were discovered by the museum are on display and offer a better understanding into the Aboriginal culture. It is all being used to tell the story of the Tsimshian people who have occupied Canada's North Pacific coast for over 5,000 years. Throughout the number of halls of the Aboriginal culture, visitors to the museum will get a chance to see how the first people settled in Canada lived and how it has helped develop Canada into what it is today. Now, the Canadian Museum of History has always been known for its unique Aboriginal displays. However, now with the new Canadian History Hall, there are even more of them. Charlie Senack, TWIN News, Gatineau. And we have taken Ottawa this week on the road to America. It has been 16 years since aircraft hit the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, and life is finally returning to a new normal in Manhattan. I was in New York in May, and I toured the site of the World Trade Center with more on that report. The new World Trade Center is a 16-acre mixed-use environment composed of 5 office towers as well as an 8-acre memorial plaza. The most iconic of the new towers is One World Trade Center, also known as the Freedom Tower. It is the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere and the 6th largest building in the world, standing at 104 floors. Next to the Peace Tower is the World Trade Center Memorial. The memorial sits at the foundation of the 2 original towers that were hit by aircraft on September 11th. The names of the 2,983 victims who died on that fatal day, as well as the 6 people who died in the bombing in 1993, are inscribed on 76 bronze plates attached around the walls of the fountain that pours into the foundations of both buildings. As you go inside the museum, you travel underground into what was the basement and inner workings of the original towers. You have a chance to walk through the foundations of both original towers and see what was hidden for all these years and what helped keep the buildings ticking during this time. One of the most significant artifacts in the museum is the survivors' stairs. The stairs served as an escape route for hundreds of evacuees from Tower Number 5 and was the last visible remaining original structure above ground level at the World Trade Center site. For visitors to the museum, the piece that sticks out the most is not an artifact, yet a slurry wall, which still stands today and has since the 1960s. The wall was used to keep water from the Hudson River out. It also helped keep the foundations from the World Trade Center dry during recovery efforts. Ladder 3 received some of the heaviest casualties of any fire company in the New York Fire Department, losing almost all of its men during the attacks. Their fire truck that was badly beaten up when the buildings fell on it stands in the museum, cut in half with pieces of steel tangled all around it. The elevator motor that was used to help workers in the tower travel over 100 floors up is also on display. And take a look at this 19.8-foot fragment of the once 360-foot transmission that stood atop of the tower. And pieces of steel from the 96th to 99th floor is also on display. That's the part of the building where the plane made impact. The most touching part of the museum is the last column that was removed. The beam that stands 3 stories high stood in the foundation of the World Trade Center's South Tower and is one of the most important artifacts in the museum's collection because first responders used it as a memorial to their fallen brothers and sisters. For many of the first responders, they took refuge and sought food and water at St. Paul's Chapel, almost right next to the Twin Towers. Ironically, the chapel saw no damage when the buildings collapsed, not even a broken window. And for time, we did have to shorten that report, yet the full version can be found here on our channel. And speaking of time, we are out of time for this week. Now let's take a look at what will be coming on the program next week. Coming up on the program next week, we are at La Machine, a North American first. Find out how the city enjoyed the event and how it impacted traffic. Also, we are back at the Canadian Museum of History for our final report in the series. Find out why it's a great place to bring your children. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you back here next week, but first a reminder to you that you can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Charlie_Senack and like my page on Facebook at Charlie Senack. Also, to stay up with TWIN News Ottawa, you can like our Facebook page at TWIN News Ottawa and follow us on Twitter at TWIN News Ott.